The final trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was revealed this week. Going into the trailer, I was a little nervous about the state of the game. Sure, we got the gameplay footage not too long ago that showed the main shtick of the game to pump us up via the fuse and ultra hand mechanics, but there was a part of me that just felt like something was still missing. Tears of the Kingdom has been in development for about 7 years now, if you don't consider the Breath of the Wild DLC taking part of the development cycle, about a year or so. A very large chunk of that has been affected by the global pandemic, yet Breath of the Wild only had a 4-year development cycle in comparison, and gave us a massive game, and set in a new world and representation of Hyrule that we had never seen before. There are so many things to do and explore in Breath of the Wild, and it's amazing how much they were able to accomplish in such a small amount of development time. With this longer development cycle, many of us have been wondering how they would be able to pull off a larger scale game than the original Breath of the Wild. Many of us were hoping that we would get an entirely new location or be able to visit a different realm. Instead, in one of the first trailers for the game, we saw a fairly barren but slightly changed version of Hyrule Field. It wasn't until later that we saw the massive islands that were scattered above Hyrule itself. Even with the reveal of those islands, many of us in the community were still concerned. Majora's Mask, while reusing many assets from its predecessor, Ocarina of Time, only took a year and gave us an entirely new location, a darker and character-focused story, and really tight level and dungeon design with excellent items and really interesting character arcs and side quests. While going to Termina would have been the most exciting option for me, I honestly believe that after the last trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I am entirely satiated and my curiosity is immensely piqued. Now, before I get too much further into this discussion, I just wanted to let you know that this is a simple initial thoughts video about what we saw in the latest trailer. And here at Nintendo Fusion, we are planning a much longer form podcast episode where we'll talk about all of the expectations and everything that we're excited for in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom based on everything we've seen so far. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss that episode when it drops. As a lifelong Zelda fan, what I love most are puzzles and dungeons. I think we managed to see quite a bit of both in the latest trailer. In both islands, and what I believe was a deep underground section, there appeared to be many different puzzle options. I am especially eager to try the low-gravity platforming that we saw, as well as the floating bubbles of water that Link can clearly swim through. Does that mean that underwater portions on the surface are confirmed? At one point, they even showed Link wearing a flying squirrel suit, where he was able to glide through laser fields to avoid getting hurt. That's some of the coolest stuff that I think that we have ever seen in Zelda. Looks like there's some serious puzzle potential available throughout the entire game, and I can't wait to see what comes. I think that in creating Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo really wanted to give us a hybrid feel between the Breath of the Wild, free and open gameplay style, and all of those puzzles that require imagination, with the more traditional style and puzzle design that we've seen in past Zelda games that was missing in Breath of the Wild. While it might just have been a visual of an underground cave, there is one part where Link is riding around on minecarts fighting a couple of enemies, and it looks so enclosed and interesting that I'm betting it's some kind of dungeon, or at least I'm incredibly hopeful. Of course, dungeons aren't confirmed to be in the game, but with the disappearance of the shrines, I sure do hope that they're back. Beyond that though, there were also a handful of new enemies and bosses that we got a quick look at. In particular, the in-air battles reminds me of when we had to enter Va Meadow in the sky in Breath of the Wild. This feels like they're cranking that up a notch and making you fight an actual monster in the sky. We also got an up-close view of the Gleeok, the 3-headed dragon monster that has been missing from Zelda since the NES era, and I'm really excited to fight it. It looks absolutely menacing. Additionally, on the Sky Islands, a monster that could travel through the ground as if it was like sand or water was shown, and it seems to have an ability much like how Link can ascend through ceilings, at least visually. Combined with Fuse, I think we will have an incredible time fighting these enemies and many more. I am also beyond thrilled to see more characters appear in these trailers. Not only did we get a look at an older looking Riju and Sidon, some of the past champions from Breath of the Wild, but we also got to see the return of Tulin, the son of Teba, who is clearly much older now and fighting alongside us. We also saw a point in the trailer where many Hylians were fighting against monsters while Link was riding a horse. Along with Tulin, we also saw Sidon and Riju fighting or doing some sort of fighting moves, more than the past companions did in Breath of the Wild. Are some of the conflicts and battles in Tears of the Kingdom going to require fighting alongside various characters to help save their settlements and cities? Though I wasn't the biggest fan of the game, they seem to be drawing from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I wasn't expecting these type of mechanics to make their way into a mainline Zelda game, but it certainly looks like we'll get something along those lines. On top of all of that, we also got to see a point where Link was able to carry individuals in carriages that he made with the Ultra Hand. They are riding in the carriage, and it looks like you're ferrying them from one settlement to another. In the gameplay teaser that we saw a few weeks back, there was what appeared to be a big pile of bricks with Beetle's logo in the background of one of the shots. Considering there was also a series of tents at the ruins of Hyrule Castle Town, it really makes me wonder if we're going to see an evolution of the Tarrey Town mechanics and quests, and be able to rebuild parts of Hyrule and settlements around the area. I think that's a fantastic addition, and I'm really hopeful that that's what it actually is. I also cannot talk about characters without discussing Ganondorf. We know it's Ganondorf because of the official announcement on Twitter, and he looks like he's heavily inspired by the Wind Waker Ganondorf design, but has elements that are pulling from other games in the series, particularly Twilight Princess. But he also had the long hair that reminds me of the flame or malice-y looking hair from Demise in Skyward Sword. It makes me wonder if Demise is actually controlling Ganondorf somehow, and that Ganondorf is the ancient hero, and those theories might be true. I'm not 100% convinced, but I think that's an exciting thought, nonetheless. I'm also thrilled to see that Matthew Mercer was able to confirm that he's voicing Ganondorf. I'm a big fan of his and all of his work. Additionally, we also saw a person that appeared to be similar to the one in the stone mural that we saw a few trailers ago, that has large bunny-like ears. We didn't get a look at their face, but it sure did look like that person in the mural. They also looked to be comforting Zelda or giving her more information about the situation she found herself in. We did get a good look at the face of another individual, could potentially be the same person, but it's a new race that we've never seen in Zelda. It's highly likely that they are part of the Zonai. Considering the jewelry and style, I believe there is a connection between the person that was comforting Zelda and this new person that we got to see the full face reveal for. Of course, there was another character reveal that only had a single shot that I'm incredibly curious about, and she seems to look a lot like Princess Zelda herself. She has a much darker complexion and has longer ears, but is wearing the same earrings and headpiece that Zelda is. However, she has more facial markings than Zelda had in that previous shot. I wonder if this person is related to the previous Calamity from the 10,000 year ago war, or if she's actually Hylia herself. A previous trailer showed an individual with similar clothing that was holding the Master Sword in front of Link. Either that's Zelda or that's this new character. She's also likely the one Zelda pled with in the last trailer for help. Of course, we have no way of knowing at this point, but I'm very interested in seeing where this goes, especially considering the time travel mechanics that we might be seeing. I'll end the theorizing here because I think it's more fitting for a deeper discussion video. There are so many things to talk about regarding where the story could potentially go, and I'm ecstatic to see what happens in this game. I liked, but was not overly impressed with, the story in Breath of the Wild. With what little we've seen so far in this trailer, I'm hopeful that we get something that absolutely blows us away. I know the Zelda team is capable of telling a good story, and also providing good gameplay at the same time, so here's hoping for both. I guess I should probably wrap up these thoughts here. As I mentioned before, this trailer has really sold me on this game. Even though I secured a pre-order a while back for the game, I was still a little nervous about how just adding the Sky Islands wasn't enough to satiate my desire for a true sequel to Breath of the Wild. All of these new and extended mechanics, from potentially rebuilding towns, to fighting alongside other characters, to traveling to interesting and unique islands, to minecart races and what appear to be dungeons, and interesting puzzle and platforming design, all combined tell me that we're really in for a treat with this game. Of course, I would have loved to have gone somewhere new instead of the same Hyrule that we saw in Breath of the Wild, but I am really looking forward to getting my hands on this game next month. Zelda has been my most favorite video game franchise since I was young, and there's just something magical about the way this series is able to capture everything that I love about storytelling, puzzle gameplay, and everything else about them, including the music. I continue to love the series, and I am thrilled to see where Tears of the Kingdom takes it and how it's going to blow me away. Back in 2017, when I first played Breath of the Wild, I gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. But I still thought that they could have done a few things here and there to make it an even more perfect game. I really believe that Tears of the Kingdom has the potential to surpass its predecessor in Breath of the Wild. Of course, I will still go into this game with an open mind and will still hope and pray that one day we can go to Termina or New Hyrule. But from where I'm sitting, the game looks amazing. This trailer will go down as one of my favorites, like the 2017 Breath of the Wild trailer. And I am ready to save Hyrule. Thanks so much for listening to these thoughts on the trailer. As a reminder, we will be talking about this on our podcast in an upcoming episode. We just wanted to take some time to really think about the trailer, gather our thoughts, and compare it with all of the other footage and information that we've already received about the game. This, of course, will include our expectations and desires for the game, as well as a bunch of theorizing regarding the story and other bits and pieces that we've seen. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss that. Anyway, thank you so much for listening again. I'm just so excited and can't wait to see what happens in a month. Please be sure to like the video if you liked it, and I guess we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.